Before there were cities, there was silence. Not the silence of an empty room, not the silence of a sleeping house. This was the silence before language, before fire, before any human hand had ever pressed itself into wet clay and thought, I was here. And somewhere beneath the oldest ground on earth, something is still breathing. They called the first city Eridu. This was southern Mesopotamia, 5,000 years before the birth of Christ, the land between the rivers, the place where, according to the oldest written records ever discovered, civilization did not grow. It was given, handed down from somewhere above, or somewhere below, depending on which story you believe. The Sumerians did not think of themselves as inventors. They thought of themselves as recipients. The arts of civilization, writing, law, kingship, agriculture, were called the me, sacred powers. And the me did not originate with men. They came from the gods. One god in particular, Enki, lord of the Abzu, master of the deep waters that the Sumerians believed lay beneath all things, a vast underground ocean, invisible, ancient, holding up the world from below. Enki was the god of wisdom, of magic, of the boundary between what could be known and what could not. But here's what the temples did not advertise. Enki did not simply give humanity its gifts, he stole them. The oldest version of the story goes like this. The me, all the sacred powers, all the laws that made civilization possible, originally belonged to Anu, the sky god, the father above all fathers, and they were kept in a place the texts describe only as the mountain of heaven and earth. A locked place, a sealed place. Enki went there. He took the me. He brought them down. Not to heaven, not to the gods. He brought them to the black-soiled earth, to the mouths of the rivers, to the first reed huts rising from the marsh, to humans. The sky god was furious. What followed is never described in the surviving tablets as a war, but the language shifts, the tone changes. There are references, oblique, careful, as if the scribe knew they were writing something they should not, to Enki being driven from the high places, to Enki descending, to Enki going below. And there is one fragment, one damaged, half-destroyed clay tablet recovered from the ruins of a temple at Eridu itself, translated only in the last 100 years. And in that fragment, there are 5 words that scholars have argued about ever since. He was placed beneath the city, not exiled, not killed, placed, deliberately, with intention, sealed below the first city ever built, the city he helped create, the city that would not exist without him. Why? The Sumerians believed the Abzu, the deep water, Enki's domain, was not just a physical place. It was a threshold, a membrane between the world of gods and men, and whatever existed before both, the ancient water, the primordial, the thing that was there before the first story began. And Enki, by stealing the me, had opened a door in that membrane that was never supposed to open. So they sealed it the only way they knew how, with a city built on top of it. Eridu sits today in the middle of the southern Iraqi desert. The ancient marshes are gone. The rivers have shifted. There is nothing there now but sand and the remnants of a ziggurat and a silence that archaeologists describe consistently as unusual, as oppressive, as something they don't include in their official reports but mention quietly in letters to colleagues. The excavations at Eridu uncovered something the early archaeologists did not expect. Beneath the oldest visible temple, there was another temple. Beneath that, another. 18 layers of temple, stacked on top of each other, each one built directly over the ruins of the last, going back to the very beginning. 6,000 years of unbroken ritual at the exact same spot. Every civilization that came through, Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, all of them, kept building on that same point, over and over and over, as if something needed to be kept down. There is a concept in Sumerian theology called the Nam-shub, a spoken incantation that does not describe reality but changes it, words that function as locks. The most famous Nam-shub in the surviving literature is the Eridu Genesis, the Sumerian flood myth, which predates the biblical flood story by at least 1,000 years. In it, the gods decide to destroy humanity, and a single man is warned, and a single city survives. The city is Eridu. But here's what the Eridu Genesis does not say. It does not say why the gods wanted humanity destroyed in the first place. That section of the tablet is missing, broken, lost. Scholars assume it was damaged by time. Maybe. Or maybe certain words were never meant to last forever. Enki's name, in the oldest Sumerian, does not mean Lord of the Earth or Lord of Wisdom. It means Lord of what is below. The city of Eridu is still there. The desert has swallowed most of it. The ziggurat is crumbling. No one lives there. No one has lived there for thousands of years. And at the very bottom of the excavation site, beneath all 18 temple layers, at the deepest point any archaeologist has ever reached, the dig stopped. Officially, because the water table was too high. The ancient water, rising from below, still there, still moving. The first city was not built to last. It was built to hold. And whatever it was holding, whatever was placed beneath it 6,000 years ago by hands that understood something we have since forgotten, it has had a very, very long time to wait. You built your civilization on top of a sealed door. And somewhere, far below the sand and the broken stone and the silence that no one writes about in official reports, something remembers being the one who gave it all to you.